NFC West. So with that being said, as always, Brother Bren, you're back from Jamaica. You took some time off, did your research, sat on the beach, you thought about it like, the Niners, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. Who the fuck is it going to be? So kick us off for the NFC West. From the bottom to the top of the cream of the crop of the division.
Say that again.
From the bottom to the top to the cream of the crop of the division.
I think that's the saying, though. That was, I don't know if you just made that up or what, but
that
was clean.
Pretty legit.
I think I said it last week. I can't remember, but that's going to be it from here on out.
Anywho, we all know. The goddamn Cardinals, worst in the division, probably worst in the league. That's easy. The Rams. Yeah, I said it. The Rams.
All right.
'Cause hear me out. Lost Jalen Ramsey. They were iffy last season anyways.
Seems like Jalen Ramsey lost himself, too, but that's a different conversation.
Well, he's probably got to go in his little hideout, do a little rehab, you know.
Yep.
And 2 teams left. It's not the 49ers, it's the Seahawks. Yeah, they're coming in second. They'll improve, but they're not beating the 49ers for the division. Because obviously it's the goddamn 49ers. No one's beating that defense.
All right, well said.
Come on.
Nola's dad, that brings us to you, man.
Yes, sir.
What are you thinking for the NFC West?
NFC West. Let me see. I'm pulling up my notes right now, fellas.
Wrote down some research.
I did. I have to do
Dove
that
deep.
once in a while.
Come on.
All right. Well,
Dylan's deep
mine's
dive.
pretty much, I think it's all going to go the same way. We got the Arizona Cardinals in last place.
Damn.
Fuck them.
I hate Kyler Murray, so I hope he comes back and he fucking sucks ass and gets traded away.
Would you play him, though,
No.
if he comes back?
No,
if they're going to stink?
They're going to want to trade him, so they don't want to show if he sucks. You know what I mean?
I've been hearing that they want to play him like before the midway point of the season, and I don't get it.
That's for ticket sales.
Fuck
That's
them
for nothing
ticket
else.
sales, man.
Maybe.
I mean, let's be honest here. We'll probably talk about it, but if you are literally looking down the barrel of being the number 1 pick, and there's a prospect out there that's fucking supposed to be the guy, you're not gonna get rid of Kyler Murray, who's caused nothing but trouble at your organization.
I've been the number 1 fucking person saying that. Like every single week on the podcast, when the news comes out, they're like, "Oh, Kyler Murray is gonna be out till week 8," and now they're like, "Oh, Kyler Murray might be back by week 5, and he plans on playing." It's the dumbest thing in the world for both sides. Kyler Murray already has his money. It's not like he has to play for a contract. The Cardinals cannot be good. I don't care if they fucking brought back Peyton Manning in the middle of his prime. The Cardinals cannot be good.
Nah, team's trash.
Hey, I heard Coach Donovan, he's shifting the culture, huh?
He can shift the culture, but it's gonna take more than 1 year. And why risk hurting Kyler?
Boom, bang.
Lose, get the number 1 pick, and then you could decide if you want to trade the number 1 pick or trade Kyler. But you're gonna get so many assets for either one of those people. It's gonna help you in the rebuild. They've been doing everything right prior to this point. They traded the number 3 pick, or was it number 2 or 3? Whatever pick they traded, they got a bunch of picks back. They drafted Paris Johnson to rebuild their offensive line. They got a whole bunch of picks. Brought in a coach who's hopefully better than Kingsbury. I just don't see the point in playing Kyler.
I just don't like Kyler Murray.
That's fine, but you know that
it.
they can get a lot for him.
Could they though?
Russell Wilson just went for 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, but we didn't.
I don't think you're not going to.
No,
see
you're
that
not,
again.
because
I think you will.
But this is the problem. They didn't know who Russell Wilson really was. Everything about Russell Wilson was hid from the media and hid from organizations. Nobody said, like, you didn't see the Richard Sherman podcast with Marshawn Lynch saying that he's actually a piece of shit. He doesn't care about his teammates or anything like that. Hold on.
I know.
He only cares about Jesus.
He does care about, well, I don't even know about that. He just cares
Yo!
about Sierra
Jesus in the 1-2
and
step.
Team 3 and future son. But
Literally future.
But anyways, what I was getting at is Kyler Murray's already proved to you that he's cancer. So I agree with your point. You bring in a new coach, why would you want to have that cancer in a locker room that's going to cause issues?
How has he proved that he's a cancer?
Bro,
what
come
teammates of his have
on.
come out and said that he's a cancer? Okay, I get the whole he's not studying the playbook shit, blah, 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 blah. Kyler Murray, when he's on the field, is a productive player. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They were winning games before all the injuries, and then last year
But look what
they were
happened
winning
when
games
they
before
had
the
a little bit
injury.
of pressure from the Rams. He turned into a fucking flop. The Rams were coming in on him.
How
He was
many quarterbacks
making
in the
so
league
many
are better than
mistakes.
Kyler Murray?
Probably 10.
I
Josh
disagree.
Allen.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes. Who else we got out there? I could even say Justin Herbert.
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson.
come
no.
on, stop.
Who else? Trying to think. Kirk Cousins.
He will.
Oh my God.
Yo, Kirk, you cannot tell me that Kirk Cousins. They win the same amount of playoff games. What are you talking about?
He didn't watch quarterback.
How many
Let's
years has
remember-
Cousins been in the league?
Let's remember, Josh hasn't seen quarterback.
Why does
yet.
it matter how many?
Because you said they had the same amount of playoff wins.
Hold on. No, I'm saying that they both suck in the playoffs. Hold on. I could tell you. I'll just name these guys off here. Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, definitely better. Aaron Rodgers, Tua's better. Russell
Tua's
Wilson's
not better.
better.
Tua is
Are
not
you
better than
fucking
it.
st-
Tua
are
is
you
not better than
drunk?
Kyler Murray. Tua is not better than Kyler Murray. Look at Tua's stats before he got two of the best receivers in the fucking league. Meanwhile, Kyler's been out there throwing a Marquise.
He
Brown.
had D-Hop.
He had D-Hop, and look at what they did. D-Hop was on pace for like 1,800
look
yards.
what Tua was doing.
They were the best team in the
Look what
NFL
Tua-
before D-Hop got. Like,
And look what Tua was
shit.
doing when he didn't have all those concussions. Look at the yards that Jalen Waddle was putting up. Look at
look
the
at
yards
Tua's
that Tyreek Hill.
look at Tua's stats before
We'll see.
Tyreek Hill got
He's
there.
definitely better than.
You're on
Kyler
crack.
Murray.
You
No.
just hate Kyler. It's fine. You're on.
That's
drugs.
10 people though.
There's
That's
not a
10
GM in
quarterbacks.
the league who would take Tua Tagovailoa over fucking Kyler
But
Murray.
We don't know who the fuck that is. I know
Yeah,
Tua
Tua
Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm saying he's a cancer. They lost that game. He got embarrassed. He went on this little rant. I don't have to play football. I could play baseball. I could play video games. Pay me my money. Didn't show
Facts.
up to
Pay
camp.
me my money.
But that's bullshit, bro.
Pay
You
me
can't
my
just sit
money.
here and get your ass. It's the same thing with the Diggs situation. You look at Diggs as a crybaby.
shit.
You look at him as a
No,
crybaby.
Diggs has been in a beautiful situation. He has one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
And
He's on a
before
perennial
this-
contender. Kyler Murray has been in a he's had Cliff fucking Kingsbury as his coach. Bum.
Cliff Bur-
Outside
he
of
had
DeAndre,
they had the best record in the league.
outside of
so now he's
DeAndre
bum.
Hopkins, who missed a ton of time, but every time they were playing together, played great. He's had Hollywood Brown, Rondell Moore.
Okay,
fuck.
two great.
Call
weapons.
Rondell Moore great.
Zach Ertz. He had James
Okay.
Conner.
Finish your division, man. That's
just crazy.
That's
That's
unreal that
crazy.
you're talking about Rondell Moore as a great receiver.
I mean, it's a good option.
No, he's
but
not.
Zach Ertz is a great tight end.
He's been hurt
And then James Conner's a great
constantly.
running
Well,
back.
it seems like the Cardinals are
Terrible
not a
offensive
great
lines.
option right now
Jesus
because,
Christ.
according to your
10
projections, they're in last
quarterbacks
place.
ahead of him. You just don't like the answer.
Who's ahead? Who's ahead of the Cardinals?
The Lions. The Lions are ahead of them. And then you got
Wait,
the
what?
Seattle.
The Lions.
Or not the
The
Lions,
Rams.
the Rams.
That's-
And then you
that's
got
a complete
Seattle
different animal.
Seahawks.
Wait.
Look what you did. You threw
He
a
got
ball.
me fired up, man. He always does this shit because he
Jesus
knows
Christ.
Kyler Murray's a fucking
Listen,
bum.
it's good
And he
content.
can't
It's
hide it
good-
because
it's
he's
good
got him on
content.
fantasy.
It's good content.
And then you got the San Francisco 49ers who will be in the Super Bowl this year.
You
Oh.
think so?
Yeah, I
They're
think
better
they're
than
gonna
the
get
Eagles?
their. I think they'll get the revenge on. I think they could have beat the Eagles if they had a healthy Brock Purdy. Slows the game
Who
down.
came in for Purdy?
Who?
Fucking Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson has been on 35 teams. Who's better than Kyler Murray?
Oh my God! Shut up. He was on 7 teams alone last year.
Yeah.
This dude.
All right. So if you ask me, okay, we're all pretty much on the same boat. There's not really any differences here.
Yeah, say what we
None
said,
at
but
all,
differently.
actually. Cardinals come in last. They got a potential to get the first and second pick, depending on what the Houston Texans do. We touched on the AFC South a couple weeks ago. They might be competitive, but I had them finishing last, so there's a potential they get the first and second overall picks. Maybe Caleb Williams and Marv Harrison Jr. Who the fuck knows? But nonetheless, Kyler's hurt, new coach, fucking young team, shitty practice facilities, shitty weight rooms, shitty everything over there in Arizona. Haven't updated facilities since fucking 1932.
Damn.
That's kind of wild.
What?
It's insane. I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but it's been real. I think it's been like since 1964. You can look this shit up.
That's kind of insane.
Didn't
'cause
they
they're-
move? When did they move to Arizona? Because they started in St. Louis.
Probably 60 some.
Probably 60.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They
insane.
haven't updated.
No.
Well, the stadium's pretty new.
That's about it.
Yeah. I used to
Um,
play at ASU. Go Dubs.
But oh yeah,
Sorry.
shut up. And then third place got the Los Angeles Rams. Fucking Cooper Kupp's hurt again.
Hammy.
We'll see what the fuck happens there. Matt Stafford getting older. They tried shipping him off during the offseason. They kind of covered that up. What else? Aaron Donald's still there, but that's really about it. You know what I mean? So
Aaron Donald won't be there by the end of the year.
maybe
I
not.
hope not. Let him.
He
Try
could-
To
he
win
could be
another
going by-
Super Bowl.
Could be going by trade deadline.
You know who he's going to go to? Bold prediction. Clip this. He's going to the Chiefs at the trade deadline.
Oh shit.
I would.
Well, we'll see what happens
They
with Chris
always
Jones.
Go for somebody.
That would be disgusting.
They
Chris
always
Jones
go
and
for
Aaron
somebody.
Donald.
Who did they
Well,
get 2
Chris
years
Jones
ago?
might not be there.
He'll play. They'll extend him. How can they afford? They can't afford Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's got to be making $20 million a year.
I'm sure he'll take a little
I'm
pay
sure
cut,
the
but
Rams will take a bulk of that just to get him.
That's true. Maybe to get a pick
If
out
they
of
get-
it.
They're
if
known
they
to
get
do
a
that.
second round pick, and the Chiefs do every year. Who did they get 2 years ago? That was a fucking dog from the Patriots.
I don't remember.
What?
They got somebody 2 years ago at the trade deadline, and they got somebody last year at the trade deadline to push them over the edge. It was a linebacker, I want to say, 2 years ago.
Well, they got Melvin Ingram 2 years ago, but I don't know if he.
Wasn't from the Patriots.
Nah, I don't know. I know what you mean.
Oh, he's from the Steelers, right?
No, Melvin Ingram played for the not the Chargers.
He was on the Steelers before the Chiefs, so
There you go. I don't know.
fucking. I get what you're saying, though. And I could definitely see that scenario maybe playing out. But nonetheless, I think we're going to see Stetson Bennett this year.
As we should, I think.
And I know there's a couple of guys out there that aren't fans of his, but
Just a few.
listen, bro, like, I'm still in college myself, bro. Like, shit happens. You know what I mean? But that dude's a fucking ball player, Georgia Bulldog, and he's a dog nonetheless.
Last year was Kadarius Toney,
Kadarius Toney.
Who did?
So they do make trades.
who scored in the Super Bowl.
in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And he's hurt again. So
He'll
Yeah,
be back.
that one hurts.
He'll be back.
They got so many weapons over there, though.
So Rams coming third, gonna be shit. Then second, that's where it gets interesting, but not really. Gonna be the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if Geno Smith will have another season like he did last year. They got JSN. He'll make an impact on their offense, but they're not gonna get over the 49ers. Too loaded. Doesn't matter who the fuck's playing quarterback. Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, Nola's dad, fucking Duke Clark. Don't matter. They're going to find a way to win their games. Defense is loaded. Nick Bosa kind of sitting out right now, but he'll get paid because they're going to be insane not to fucking pay him after Defensive Player of the Year season he had. So, yeah, we're all on the same page here.
they just got fucking Hargrave from Philly,
I forgot about that. Yo.
and they still have this. Oh no, they traded. Never mind. That was forever ago. Not gonna say that.
We'll see what happens to Trey Lance. I don't know if he's sticking around.
He wouldn't even be on that team anymore if it wasn't for all the capital they put into him.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to save face at this point.
Well, with that being said, you heard it from the sports stooges ourselves. 49ers are going to take it home. But now, let's send it over to our Stats Savant, the money man, Jake Money Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to another week's segment. We are hitting the NFC West this week. As always, let's look at the FanDuel odds. So we have the Cardinals at plus 2,700. I'm just going to recommend do not bet this. And if you want to bet this, just go donate your money to charity or something. You'll be better off that way instead of the sport books. The Rams, we got the Rams at plus 1,000. Don't bet this one either. They're not going to win it. Seattle at plus 200, and then the favorites, big favorites, San Fran at minus 165. So this division really comes down to two teams, and we're going to get into it. So let's look at the Rams. So the Rams are projected 6.5 wins this year. Let's look at how they spent their offseason. So this offseason, they're only spending $59 million in cash for their roster, which ranks 32nd in the league. So they're not spending much on their roster this year. This offseason, they drafted 14 players, and they spent the 32nd most money in free agency at $6.8 million. So let's look. If they spent $6.8 million this year, last year they spent $99.5 million. There's a huge difference this year to last year. So they haven't drafted many. They drafted a lot of players, but they're not spending in free agency. Another funny statistic I saw. So their most expensive free agent signing from another team this year is a backup quarterback, Brett Ryanpen, to a 1-year, $1.1 million deal. So they spent over $1 million on probably a third-string quarterback. So that's pretty funny. But now let's look at last season and the season before when they won the Super Bowl, and we're going to look at Matthew Stafford. So Matthew Stafford, when they won the Super Bowl in 2021, when he was in the pocket clean, he was ranked the number 5th quarterback in 2021. In 2022, when the pocket was clean, he went to the 28th overall quarterback. Huge drop there. Let's look at passing from the pocket. So in 2021, when he was passing from the pocket, he was ranked the second highest quarterback. In 2022, when passing from the pocket, he was ranked 34th. Huge drop there as well. Let's look at passing on early downs with play action. So in 21, he ranked 9th there. In 2022, he ranked 45th. If you can see the trend here, he really struggled last year. Now, when they played against man coverage, this is a huge one right here. So when they played against man coverage in 2021, they ranked number 1, Matthew Stafford. That's a big reason why they won the Super Bowl. They faced a lot of man coverage in the playoffs, and Matthew Stafford was elite against it. So now in 2022, when they played man coverage, he went to 45th best quarterback. A huge, huge drop. And we're going to get into the numbers and see why this is. So why did Matthew Stafford struggle in all these areas last year? And it has to do with the Rams stopped using pre-snap motion. So pre-snap motion was very big for them in 21, and they stopped using it in 2022. I don't know why, but they really struggled. So when they had motion last year, they averaged 10.7 yards per attempt with a 65% completion rate. When they didn't use motion at all, that went from 10.7 yards per attempt down to 3.7 yards per attempt. 65% completion rate all the way down to 50% completion rate. I'm not sure why they stopped using it. Maybe bad coaching, maybe other reasons, I'm not sure. But Matthew Stafford really struggled, and he really needed to use play action. So for this season, they really need to get some motion and some play action there. Now we're going to talk about what's really bad for them, okay? So last year they went 5-12. They were 3-4 in one-score games. Those one-score games could have went bad, could have went the other way, and they could have only won like a few games last year, so they got kind of lucky there. They were -1 in the turnover ratio. They finished -1, which is it's okay. It's like average, I would say. But they won 5 games. If their turnover this year is much worse, if they're like -10 or something, they could win like 2 or 3 games this year and it'd be very bad for them. They face a much harder schedule on offense and defense this year as well. That's another big key factor. Now, another huge factor, which I like right here, their rest disadvantage this year is -28 days, which is by far the worst in the NFL. So a lot of teams have much better rest than them, and they are very at a big disadvantage for that. They also play 4 teams coming off a bye, too. So when a team comes off a bye, they're rested, and they get an extra week to prepare for the Rams. So I don't like that a lot for the Rams. And the Rams also lost Jalen Ramsey, huge corner for them. So I'm not sure how this defense will play out. And Cooper Kupp is a little banged up. I think he'll be good for week 1, but if he goes down, that's their whole offense right there. So I'm not too high on the Rams this year at all. But let's transition now and let's get to a much better team. We're going to talk about the 49ers. So they're projected at 10.5 wins, which is pretty good for them. But we're going to talk about some previous seasons. So since 2017, 6 seasons, they've been top 10 every season for most injuries. They've just been extremely unlucky. They have a lot of players get injured, which is pretty bad for them. If they had that this year, it's going to be horrible for them because they're very thin at certain positions. So if we look at receivers, they have Debo and Ayuk. After that, nothing too much. So they can't get injured there. Tight end, all they really have is Kittle. Kittle is a top 5 tight end, very good. They drafted a rookie tight end, but I'm not high on rookie tight end. So if Kittle goes down, that's going to be huge for them. And also their secondary, we'll talk about a little bit more about their secondary later. But if they get injuries in the secondary, it can be very bad on defense for them. But now let's talk about Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy last year, he went 7-1 as an NFL starting quarterback, which is very good for a rookie quarterback. So how did they do this? Well, Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, is a genius. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league, and he knows how to win. So what did they do? They were just very efficient on early downs. That's what you need to do with rookie quarterbacks. You don't want to put a rookie quarterback in obvious passing downs because that leads to a lot of turnovers, and the defense knows you're going to throw. So they're going to bring some pressure, and it can result in a lot of interceptions as well. So on early downs, the 49ers were 0.12 EPA, expected points added. That would rank second in the NFL. So they were very efficient on early downs. So that was a big key for them. So now we're going to talk about the bad for this year and why there's some negative things for San Fran as well. So last year they didn't play really any elite defenses. Brock Purdy didn't play many elite defenses other than Philly in the playoffs, and they ended up losing that game, but he got hurt and stuff, so you can't really count that. But they played pretty easy defenses. They actually faced the second easiest pass defense last year. The defenses last year, they didn't have any film on Purdy at all. This year they have 8 games or so of film. And so if you don't have film on a player, you don't know tendencies, you don't know play calling and stuff. So there's just more research teams can do on Purdy. So that's another negative, I feel. Another big one here. So talking about earlier how it's very important to be efficient on early downs and build up a lead. Brock Purdy didn't really play from behind much. Out of 248 dropbacks, only 25 of them was when he was trailing. And when he did trail, out of those 25 throws, he was 16 of 25. Not too horrible. That's a 64% completion rate, but it was 0 TDs and 2 interceptions. So as we talked earlier, when you're in passing down situations, when you're trailing from behind, you need to throw. Defenses know you're going to throw, and it leads to interceptions and turnovers like that. So that was bad for them. He didn't do well in that last year, and if they trail more this year, I can see a lot more interceptions for him. So now let's talk about their defense. So their defense was pretty elite. Somewhat, but it's also very deceiving. Their defense struggled very badly against top 10 pass opponents as they ranked, when they faced top 10 pass opponents, they ranked 25th in success rate, which is not good. That's very bad. And they also ranked 31st in first down rate, also very bad too. So they struggled against good offenses. To add to that defense, they lost Jimmy Ward and Emmanuel Moseley on defense. Those were 2 big safeties and corners right there. That's their secondary, as I mentioned earlier. They're very thin there, so if their starters go down, they're going to be playing a lot of backups, and it could turn out very bad for the 49ers. And similar to the Rams, the 49ers are at a negative 20 rest disadvantage this year, which is just not good for them. Other teams have better rest days than them. And they play 4 teams off a bye. Out of those 4 teams off a bye, 3 of the 4 are on the road. So 4 teams off a bye, they get an extra week to prepare for San Fran, study game fill and stuff. And those 3 games are on the road against San Fran, so San Fran has to travel as well. So that's another negative towards them. But now let's transition into the Cardinals. So as I mentioned earlier, the Cardinals are plus 2,700. Just do not bet on them. They're not going to do well. They are tanking this year, and they don't really have much going for them. But let's talk about their season last year and why they struggled. So last year they went 4-13. Obviously Hopkins was suspended 6 games, no longer with the team, but they started out very slow. They started out 2-4 without him. He was a big player. They lost Christian Kirk last year to free agency, but they added Marquise Brown, but he did not fill the role as Christian Kirk did. Brown was also injured as well, so you have to add that there. But Christian Kirk was very elite for them and efficient for them, so that was a big loss they had. But if we go to 2021, when they won 11 games, they were very good on 3rd and longs, which is it just does not transition year over year, and you do not want to be in 3rd and longs either, okay? So in 21 on 3rd and longs, they converted 56% of that, which is absolutely elite, okay? The NFL average was 31%. They were 25% over the NFL average on 3rd and longs. So what did that happen? What happened in 2022? What percentage did they went to? They went to all the way down to 26%. So they dropped tremendously. So relying on 3rd and longs is just not a success formula for NFL teams to win the games. And now we're going to talk about Kyler Murray. So he got hurt last year, and a lot of people like to write that season off because he got hurt. But he was very bad before the injuries and stuff, and we're going to talk about why. So he had a career lows in yards per attempt, success rate, accuracy, TD rate, and first down rate. So he was probably his worst season so far in the NFL. And why is that? Well, they have Cliff Kingsbury. He's their old head coach. They fired him, thank God. He was very bad, and his play calling was absolutely horrendous. So they just didn't use enough play action, to be honest, on early downs. So when they used play action, they were 51% in success rate. That would rank number 12th in the NFL. And they averaged 8.3 yards per attempt, which would average 18th in the NFL. So they were pretty decent there using play action. Without play action, though, this is where it gets very bad. Success rates drops all the way down to 43%, so it went from 51 to 43. 43 would be ranked 27th in the NFL. Absolutely horrible there. And their yards per attempt without play action, 5.7 yards per attempt, and that would rank 40th in the NFL. So they went from the 18th to the 40th ranked right there. Absolutely horrendous. They needed to call more play action, but did not, and I do not understand why. They also ran the ball way too often as well early down. So when they did run the ball, they only averaged 3.9 yards per carry, which would rank 27th in the NFL. So they ran the ball early, even though they weren't successful. It just doesn't really make sense to me at all. This resulted in more third and longs, and that is where they got the 26% completion rate on third and long. So they just really struggled there as well. They're in full rebuild this year. They're trying to tank. I want to say they have the Texans pick too. So if the Texans stink, they might have 2 top picks in the top 5. So this year's kind of a write-off. Colt McCoy's their starting quarterback. He's always been a journeyman backup quarterback. I don't really expect too much out of him, and it's going to be rough for Cardinals fans out there. But just give it a few years, and maybe they'll get back on track. So with that, we're going to talk about the most exciting team, I think, in this division, Seattle. A lot of people are high on Seattle based on what they did last year, and I might break some hearts here. So Seattle, they were only projected to win 5.5 games last year. They ended up winning 9. Why did they do that? Geno Smith won NFL Comeback Player of the Year. He was very elite, pretty good in a lot of statistics and stuff. Helped them win 9 games, and was overall pretty good, much better than Russell Wilson was in previous years, right? That answer would be wrong. The media wants to portray that Russell Wilson was absolutely horrible and Geno Smith is so much better than he is, but that's completely false, completely wrong. And we're going to explain why. Russell Wilson, when he played for Seattle in 21, he averaged 0.16 EPA, which is expected points added, and that would rank number 2 in the NFL. Now let's look at Geno. Geno's EPA was negative 0.07. Where did that rank? 28th in the NFL. Russell Wilson was also better in pretty much every offensive statistics category for quarterbacks outside of completion percentage. So Russell Wilson was better in. He had a lower interception rate, a better TD to interception rate, a higher TD rate. He was better on early downs, better on third down, better with and without play action as well. He was better in the red zone and better outside the red zone. So I know the media loves Geno and tries to portray that Russell was horrible on his way out, only won 7 games in 21. But Russell was much better than Geno was, and I know that's hard to believe, but that's what the stats say. But now let's talk about Geno. So Geno, he played 6 games last year against above-average defenses. He went 2-4 in those games. He struggled against above-average defenses, so that's not a good sign for Geno at all. Geno only had 3 games against top 10 pressure rate defenses, and he will face much more in 2023. He does not do good against pressure, and we're going to talk why. So against the blitz, right? Against the blitz, he was ranked number 28th in EPA, expected points added. Horrible for a QB like him. Not when he faced not the blitz, he ranked number 9th in EPA. So teams need to blitz him to make him uncomfortable, and he's much worse against the blitz. So that's what teams need to do. When he was blitzed, his TD to interception rate ranked number 38th in the NFL. Absolutely horrible against the blitz. And he's going to play more teams, I think, this year, better defenses that will blitz them, and they know this. But now let's talk about their run game. So Kenneth Walker, he had a pretty decent season last year, but I think he's a little overrated in my eyes. So against defenses that ranked 22nd or worse against the run, so when they faced easy run defenses, they went 6-1. When they played defenses 22nd or better against the run, they went 3-8. So they struggled against pretty good run defenses, and this year they're going to face a lot more. They only played one team last year outside of San Fran that was top 10 in run defense. This year, they're projected to play top 5, top 10 run defenses outside of San Fran. So if we add San Fran, that's 7 games against top 10 run defenses. So that could be a huge problem for Seattle. Another negative, too, that I saw, which I don't really like this for Geno. So Geno only played 3 road games outdoors last year. The other road games were in domes. But in those 3 games that were outdoors, Seattle scored 10 points, 7 points, and also 16 points there. So he struggled outside, and this year they're going to play 5 road games outside. So that could be another big negative for Geno as well. Now let's talk about their run defense. So they signed a bunch of players on defense, so this defense might be better. But they were ranked 26 in yards per carry allowed, despite playing the 22nd toughest run offenses. This year they're projected to play the 4th toughest run offenses, so they're going to play a lot of good running backs, and they could get torched there. They only went 2-4 versus playoff teams last year. They're projected to play a lot more playoff teams this year, so that could be another negative aspect for the Seattle. So that's the reason why I'm not too high on them. But if we look at the positives, they added JSN. They have a very good receiver duo. Actually, there's 3 of them, Lockett, DK, and JSN, so they could do some damage there if Geno can get them the ball. He did very well last year on throwing deep passes, so if he can transition that to this year as well, that will help him out a lot. And also they added a bunch of players on defense, so that defense might be better. But overall, I'm not too high on Seattle this year, and I know that might break some hearts because I know a lot of people are on Seattle. But before we wrap it up, let's look at the projected standings I have this year. So this division's pretty straightforward, no surprises. Arizona at 4. They're tanking. Don't bet them. Just ignore them. Not too much to say with them, to be honest. I'm not sure when Murray's going to be back. I know he's coming off a torn ACL and other knee damage as well, so he could sit a while if they're already losing a lot of games. If they start the season out like 0-6 or something and Murray wants to come back, they might just shut him down or try to trade him or something. So Arizona's not going to be good at all. We have the Rams. The Rams have a lot of issue. Matthew Stafford was very off last year. They didn't spend a lot of money in free agency, so I'm not expecting too much out of them. Cooper Kupp is like the heart and soul of that team on offense, so if he goes down, there could be a lot of problems, but I'm just not high on the Rams this year. Number 2, Seattle. So I'm definitely not high on Seattle at all, but they're coming in second because the other 2 teams are very bad here. They could surprise people, but I'm betting against it. Their win total right now is at 8.5, so I'm not sure if they're going to get that or not. But if it does go to 9.5, the win total, I'm going to definitely bet the under on that one. And last but not least, San Fran. So San Fran, they have problems this year, but they're in an easy division. They definitely can win this. I question their secondary. I question Brock Purdy if he's good or not, if teams can adjust to him. But I do like Kyle Shanahan a lot, and I think they have a great offense with the receivers they have and stuff. But that's all I have for the NFC West this week. As always, thanks for tuning in, and stay on that grind. Money never sleeps.